Bore da, or pnawn da, or nos da. The Welsh way of saying good morning, or good afternoon, or good night, depending on which time of day you are watching this. Matt has very thoughtfully allowed me to take this day for doing the blog in our series on Celtic Saints, because today is a day where the book looks at St David, or Dewi Sant, who is the patron saint of Wales. So who was David? Well, apparently he was born about 500 years AD on a cliff top in a storm at the southwest edge of Pembrokeshire, and his parents were both descended from Welsh royalty. He was brought up and to be a priest, and then he was a missionary, and he travelled all over Wales, all over Great Britain, and he actually went to Jerusalem on a pilgrimage where he was consecrated as a bishop. And he founded many monasteries, 12 monasteries, and one of which was Glastonbury, and another was St David's in South Wales. Now, monastery life was very hard, and David knew that his walk and the walk of his monks with God was not going to be an easy one. And apparently, if someone wanted to join the monastery, David would keep them outside the front door and not let them in until they were absolutely sure that God had called them to be a monk. There is a story that David's monks were once severely tested by a group of women in order to test their holiness. David told his monks that struggling itself is not a bad thing, but they must overcome evil with good. In 1 Corinthians, Paul said that God is faithful and will not allow us to be tempted above what we can endure. And many centuries later, Martin Luther said, "You cannot keep birds from flying over your head, but you can keep them from building a nest in your hair." In other words, we will be tempted, but we don't have to give in. Celtic Christians placed a great value on the Bible, and they had a very healthy balance between word and spirit. David was often portrayed with a dove on his shoulder. Over the years, the church has known dark times when the Bible was reserved only for clergy and academics. But it's also known better times when the Bible has been translated into so many languages and people can read it for themselves. And maybe, in this day and age, we are realizing again the importance of both word and spirit. David's last words to his followers were said to be joyful, keep your faith, and do the little things you have heard and seen me do." Not a bad example to follow. So the blessing for today. May you remember that Christ is always with you, even through the hardest trials and battles. May you be an influence on and an example to those who come to you. May you overcome all temptation that you face with God's strength working in you. So keep the faith and offer the little things by God's grace. See you soon.